Hey everybody, welcome to This Week with Chris and Bob. This week we have a special security guest. Carl DePrado is joining us today.
Hey,
Carl, why don't you give us a quick intro?
hi everybody. Um, my name's Carl DePrado. I have a company in Montrose, New York, which is just outside, about an hour north of New York City, right by West Point, called A to Z Business IT. I focus in cybersecurity and IT support.
Cool.
Um, Thank you guys for having me on the show.
And
I
for
just
everyone,
I just want to comment on how sick the power lines behind you look.
Oh, well, I'm getting my car serviced, and this was, you
I
asked if
know.
I could come on. So
Yeah.
yeah, they did. They did. Well, I'm not sitting directly underneath them, so that's at least a good thing.
Just to give everybody that idea, we literally asked him 10 minutes before we were going to get on, and then we waited a little bit because we didn't give him very much time. But that's our fault.
hey,
It's okay.
that's technology and the internet.
There you
Any,
go.
anywhere, anytime, and the same thing
Gotta
with
be up for anything.
same thing with the bad guys. They're attacking anywhere,
Exactly.
anytime. I know Chris has got some stuff he wanted to talk about, but I wanted to share real quick with you guys something that happened over the weekend. I saw a new telephone attack happening where the bad guys are calling up claiming to be the fraud department of the bank. I talked about that a couple weeks ago where we had a client that
Yep.
lost some money. Well, this one they put a new spin on it while they're on the phone, while the bad guys are talking to actually it was my sister talking to my sister. She got a second phone call or a text message saying that there was fraudulent activity on her account, she may be talking to bad guys right now. So the bad guys called twice and established trust to try and get access to her data, her accounts for one more. But she was wise to the whole thing and told them to go pound salt and moved on. But so that's what happened. I know, Chris, you've got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, but I wanted to just share that with everyone because the bad guys, it's a really clever idea. You call a second time and now you're establishing trust that you're helping them.
That's
I
real. That's a pretty
The level
common.
of deception is the impressive part.
Yeah,
Like that, man. I'll tell you what. You're going all in for a bit and going all in for a scam when you actually set up two phone calls like that.
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
a lot of people. One person falls for it, but how many people with when that second phone call comes in and they act like the bank? How many more people is that going to trick?
Well,
Exactly.
So
they're operating on FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now they
yeah,
got the second call, and
yeah.
now it creates. We already have in the back of our head, oh my gosh, it's the bank calling, and that's never good news. And now we get that second call back up.
Yeah. So as far as today, what we want to talk about is something that like all three of us in our businesses, when we talk to prospects, we talk to customers, this is something that's very important to us. We don't necessarily use this term very often with them, but the reality is like cyber resilience is kind of where we're going, and we're trying to change the mindset of businesses and business owners from a preventative mindset towards a cyber resilient mindset. And all that means is we're moving you towards just putting in preventative controls. So I guess we can use a castle as an example. It's probably a good example. They built big walls. They may put archers on the top of it. They put a moat around it. But what happens when they get by all that? What happens when a spy gets in and starts doing things inside of the castle? And that's where cyber resiliency comes in for your business. It's really just your ability to continuously deliver your business outcome despite a cyber attack, despite somebody maybe doing business email compromise, despite somebody maybe deploying ransomware. And all three of us have kind of are putting that in our business and putting that towards our customers. And I think it's important to talk about because for so long we've all been about preventative care. And doctors will tell us that too. But at some point you have to look at having the visibility in your environment, having somebody looking at it all the time to know that when somebody's inside of your business, that you can respond and control the blast radius accordingly. So I think that's a pretty good intro. I don't know.
No, that's a great inch,
Yeah, that's perfect analogy.
if you take that castle, that castle, it's everything that we do layers on top of each other to protect, to provide protection. You know, castles had a moat, castles had a wall, and then they had guards, and then they had arrows. So that's all individual layers. And before you even got to the castle, there's probably a layer of thorns to go through. So,
and weather, depending on where you were too, you had the weather aspect of it, right? If you had to travel to it.
And they had special slits in the castle for the archers, so that it was only so they could shoot an arrow out, and it was impossible to shoot an arrow back in. You know, there's a whole bunch of science. Yeah, it's a firewall with with the first port in a firewall was the slits in the window.
And then the
outbound
first
traffic only.
And then the first phishing email ever was the Trojan horse.
Absolutely.
Right? You got by all those defenses by just gifting a horse.
Giving them a nice present. USB, it's basically a big wooden USB drive.
Yeah. Or somebody click or somebody click
or a spam email. I got one yesterday where they said, "Hey, your package didn't arrive," and I clicked the link and it was a perfect UPS, post office site. I looked at the website; it didn't match the link, but it looked exactly like the post office site. So they're working on better and better Trojan horses.
It's too bad we're live and we can't scrub that Carl said he clicked on a link.
Oh, sorry. Well, I did.
You can't scrub that.
I did it in a sandbox.
Oh, so. Yeah, there you go. See, now he tells the whole story. Yeah, like when we
we don't do it.
No.
On a production machine or something that actually has access to data. You do it inside of a sandbox.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that people understood that we're not just.
And what a sandbox means is that if it does get compromised, it's not going anywhere.
Yep. There's a lot of tools.
Sort of like, what's that?
Sorry. I was gonna say there's a lot of tools that will do sandboxing in the cloud too before you even get to the point of clicking on it. So.
Exactly. But I was going to add one more thing, and this, going back to the security mindset, I was sharing just before the call was, I've been watching a lot of Dragnet lately, and last night I was watching an episode where they were talking about getting community businesses involved with crime prevention, and the police were actually going to local businesses, walking the street, taking a survey, and at that time they were looking at things that were making it easy pickings for the criminals, like they were putting their cash registers outside for the restaurants, and they were putting gold cufflinks inside the display windows and making it very easy and they had drain pipes right out of the front for people to come in and climb up to the second floor. And it was amazing to just see 50 plus years ago there was still resistance to, oh, why do I need to go ahead and make those changes to protect my business?
Yeah.
That's the thing, at that point, they might've had some insurance too. And today, people think that the cyber insurance is going to cover them if they have a breach, if they have something going on. People don't want to take responsibility for what's going on for anything. Means they try and defer that. And, Travelers is in court right now, trying to get their money, trying to not pay $1 million claim. So,
Lloyd's of London is limiting the scope of what they'll pay on.
Yeah, with the nation state stuff, even though last week they may have suffered an attack from a nation state, which is somewhat amusing and not at the same time. Bob and I talked about this last week. We saw a guy talk about, like, for our businesses, if we get hit with one cyber insurance claim, there's a chance that we're uninsurable.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. If you look at all the companies out there that provide IT services and things like that, the ones that maybe don't have cyber insurance, the ones that do, how many aren't doing the things that they need to do to help you help their business, first of all, be cyber resilient, but then help yours be cyber resilient? And I think that's the scary part. Like I met a company that they do printing. They've sold printers forever, and now they're trying to jump into this IT space. And it's not attack on them. I mean, I'm all for people starting businesses and expand their business, but I mean, they're also jumping into a game that, like, it's not what it was 10 years ago. We can't continue to keep operating like we did 10, 15, even 5 years ago. This is something that
even
changes.
2 years ago. Yeah, no, it's
our whole model, like the way that we deliver services, really, like we go back to the castle analogy, and it's defense in depth, right? We're putting defenses at multiple layers so that when one thing gets past, when it gets past one layer, we have another layer to detect it. and you can't
Yeah.
put unlimited layers in. This isn't like we can use the onion reference, I guess, from Shrek. That'd be pretty funny, but like you can only put so many layers in before it becomes detrimental to the business. So that's the one thing
It's
that
going to
we have to
affect
do.
workflow. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to help empower your business to move forward, to empower your business to keep working, even despite the number of attacks that are out there. And you're going to get hit. It's not a fear thing. It's just at some point, somebody's business email is going to be compromised. Somebody's going to click on a link. They're going to get their PC compromised. It's how you can keep working and keep selling and keep doing what you do as a business that really matters, and throughout all that, so that you don't have to stop doing your business while something bad is happening. And that's the message, I guess. Yeah.
And that was the other thing, Chris, that the big point from last week from from one of the sessions we were at was we can't just put it back if somebody gets compromised. It really has to turn into an investigation now. And it's going to be and that means bringing in the right people to do the investigation, because if and when it shows up in court, the first question they're going to say is, what's your certifications for being a forensic expert?
Yeah. Let's face it, an IR team coming in is going to be somewhere easily at minimum of around $50,000 going up,
Carl,
north.
The last small business email compromise we did was $35,000 worth of forensic work on top of the $10,000 loss.
Well, and that too, that's where people are going to make that decision too. If they have a $10,000 loss and they're really going to spend $35,000 on
well, they didn't spend
IR.
it. The insurance company did.
That's different then. If the insurance company pays for it, good.
But the guy still had it. But the guy still had a $10,000 deductible, so he was still out the $10,000 that he lost.
However, true, but if they didn't clean it up properly and they didn't know it, they could have been far. They could have kept attacking them, kept going through that. And I think, I think it's important to understand too is like if you're not resilient and you have to pay a ransom or something like that. Let's say you have to. You know what you've done? You've done what Carl said with Dragnet. You've put your cash register outside. You've put your gold cuffs in the window. You've gave people another way into your business. And if you don't clean it up right, if you don't go with a professional IR team, an incident response team, there's a chance that they're going to be able to get back in. Because if you don't plug that hole, if you don't fix that hole, and you don't have any if you don't have any detection in the business, it's something that can happen again.
Yep. One of the other things that's different than Dragnet is, if you are the victim of a cybercrime, good luck. We can call in the things, but the FBI, is not going to be able to respond. There's not going to be a team that's going to come immediately and start questioning, asking what's happening, unless you're a multi-million-dollar corporation.
Unless it's a big.
They're overwhelmed. I've had FBI agents say, "We're overwhelmed. We can't handle it." That's why they reach out to people like ourselves to help with this.
And I've talked to state police. State police actually are the ones that you probably should go to first, even before the FBI, because they usually, at least in Michigan, they have cyber teams. They have a cyber team here, and they work with the FBI. So if they can't help you, they will, call us obviously, but call state police. They will try to help you first, and if they can't, or if it extends past their boundaries, they then go to the FBI, which they may have more pull with it. But like to Carl's point, if it's not a big enough loss, the government's not really going to get that involved.
I met somebody pre-COVID who the FBI came knocking at their front door of the business and said, "Your data is on the internet. Your machines are compromised, and you're on the internet." And the guy actually went through at this event and actually said how detrimental it was to his business and even emotionally how hurtful it was for knowing what was going on, because you had employees' livelihood being affected because when money goes away, people can't write checks. Anyway, that is almost 15 minutes, guys. Carl, thank you. Thank you for jumping on the call with us today. Yeah. And like they said last week when we were in Austin, was it Austin?
Dallas,
I think.
Actually, the week before, wherever we were, was when we were told that the IT providers really are the front lines for cyber protection right now, and that's what we're here to do.
Okay. If you have any questions, if anybody has any questions about resilience and like the things that we can do, we could get more in depth on that. Just let us know.
Yep.
If you have any other kind of questions or business questions, just drop us a comment, drop any of us a comment. We can kind of collectively get that back together, and we're more than willing to just do another video on it. So
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
thanks. Have a good